everybody, I'm Steph Cook and thank you for joining me. Today I want to talk about making a real change, and I'm going to share with you the story of how I quit my high-paying corporate job to follow my passion. So again, my name is Steph Cook and I work with my husband Mike Cook. We're both trained engineers, but we never really felt fulfilled in that line of work. Sometimes the work was fulfilling, but we had no balance, and other times we just felt like we weren't really utilizing our skills to the best of our abilities. We both job hopped looking for a fit. I spent 5 years job hopping everywhere from retail to IT to teaching to public service, and Mike made a switch from engineering to actuarial science. And what we both realized independently was that there is more to life than the inside of a cubicle, and that we wanted more out of our lives than a life in corporate America could give to us. So we have found a really great opportunity, and I want to share it with you. So let me share a little bit more detail about my story specifically. I was a very troubled teenager. I drank a lot. I did drugs. I got kicked out of my house. I was in trouble with the police, you know, the whole nine. Somehow through it all, I managed to get good grades. I guess I was just blessed that way. I felt like I was one of those people that didn't have to work too hard in school. And I managed to get into a really good college, which, you know, honestly saved my life. When I was there, you know, I carried the drinking and the drugs with me, and I gained the freshman 15 plus. And I say plus because at that time in my life, I never stepped on a scale. I didn't want to know what the scale would say because I knew that I wouldn't like it. And I just knew that I didn't feel right in my skin. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't like the options of things that I had to wear. I had at the time all these very petite friends, and I was kind of like stuck out like a sore thumb. So, you know, I just was unhappy. And I stayed that way for about 2 years, and I finally just woke up one day and I said, enough. And I decided to make a change and to change my life. I focused a lot initially on what I was eating, and then moved on to fitness as well. And it's been a 10-year journey for me to really get into the healthiest and happiest version of myself. I'm really at a place now where I'm confident in my own skin. I look and feel great. I never get sick. I'm just very happy and I'm very comfortable in myself, and I never was like that before. Now to the corporate part of my story. So I graduated with a degree in environmental engineering. I climbed the corporate ladder very quickly when I graduated. I worked in environmental consulting, and by the time I was 26, I was managing $1 million client portfolio, which was a lot at that time in the company that I was working in. I was given a lot of responsibility very quickly. What I was not given a lot of was support. I was learning on the fly. I was figuring out how to manage people, which if you've ever done that before, you know it's really a learned skill. And to compensate for the lack of support, I was working anywhere from 60 to 80 hours a week religiously. I was pretty much addicted to work, and it was awful. I would work all day, like 12-hour days, and then I would come home, eat crappy food, and log back into work and work some more. And even on the weekends, I was working. I had no time to take care of myself, no time to cook. Any time that I spent not working, I usually spent drinking, and so that's not healthy either. Mike was considering leaving me. He told me after the fact that he hated coming home to me because I was so miserable to be around. And, you know, hearing somebody that you love say that to you is like, holy shit, like something's really wrong. Unfortunately, he told me way after the fact, but I independently recognized that something was really wrong and that something needed to change. And I knew that it wasn't my job, that it was me, that I needed to find something that was a better fit for me and the lifestyle and the values that I had. And I job hopped a lot, as I mentioned earlier. I spent about 5 years jumping from job to job, thinking if I just find the right job, I'll be happy. And, you know, that never really happened for me. The one thing that was the constant throughout was fitness and nutrition, and it led me to this path of being a health coach. And that's really where I found my true passion. And it's not just about the health coaching for me. That's a big part of it. It's something that I like to do. It's really related to some of the things that I value as far as, taking care of yourself, exercising, feeding your body right. But also I've recognized that, I didn't really like being in that corporate hierarchy. I didn't like having a boss who didn't understand me. Now I'm in control day to day of what my days look like, what my responsibilities are, what needs to get done that day, and how much I earn. There is unlimited earning potential, which is fantastic, and I'm not succumbing to a 1% salary increase when the company has a bad year, or a no salary increase, which happened my last year at my corporate job before I left. So how did this all happen for me? One of the first things that I did was I really had to reframe what success meant to me. A lot of us are taught from an early age that, go to a good college, get a good job, then you'll make a lot of money, you can buy a big fancy house and a car, and it's really this keeping up with the Joneses mentality. I was definitely raised to think that way, and it wasn't right for me. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's right for some people. I can't imagine that it is, but maybe it is, but it wasn't right for me. And if you're here, that mentality is probably not right for you either. So what I had to do was shift my focus and shift my version of success to be one about working on purpose and doing work that really feels inherently good and authentic to me. Also, time freedom was a huge thing. I don't want to be stuck in that 9 to 5 grind anymore, or 8 to 6 or 8 to 8, whatever that might be. And that was, a huge constraint for me. I like to be in control of my days, of my schedule. I like to be able to go to a yoga class in the morning if I want to, or meet a friend for coffee and not feel bad about it. The other thing, as I mentioned, is the financial freedom. There's unlimited earning potential. Now, I know I said earlier that I was making a good corporate salary, and I definitely was. But one of the things that I think about now is that in the world today, there is no such thing as security with any company. They don't have loyalty to you, and really, you don't have loyalty to them at the end of the day, right? It just doesn't exist anymore. It's just not the way that the corporate world works. And so when I think about having financial freedom, I think about having security within myself, being totally in control, not being at the mercy of somebody else, not being at the mercy of a company that says, oh, we don't need you to work for us anymore, or, you did a really good job, but we just don't have enough money to give you a raise. I don't want anything to do with that. I want to be in total control. The other thing that I focused on was really taking time to develop meaningful relationships, not only with the people that I'm working with, my coworkers and my clients, but also with Mike, my husband, with family and friends. I never had time to do that before, and now that's a main focus for me, is really cultivating the relationships and spending time with friends and family. That's really, really important. And the last, again, health and wellness. So again, when I was working all the time and stressed out, I didn't have time to take care of myself. Now I recognize that I can't be effective in any role, whether it's working for myself or otherwise, in any role if I'm not taking care of myself. So that is a major priority for me and a major pillar of success in my life. So this is very big in the entrepreneurial circles. If you are not in those circles, you may or may not have heard of it. I know that it is definitely expanding its reach and working its way into the corporate world as well, which is awesome. It's this whole idea of knowing your why, knowing why you're doing something, knowing what drives you, what gets you up in the morning and gets you ready to go and excites you. And I had this aha moment about a week ago or so. I was listening to one of the head coaches talk, and she said something very powerful. She said, your why should be personal. And to me, when you say that, that means that it was like a permission slip for me to go ahead and be selfish. Because I had always said before, oh, my why is helping other people. I just want to do good in the world, and that is not enough. We all want to do good in the world, and we all want to help other people. That doesn't differentiate you. It doesn't make you It's not powerful enough to really drive you long term. So I've done a lot of thinking on it, and my why is that I never want to have a boss again. I don't want to work for anyone who doesn't understand me, who doesn't understand my values and my work ethic and the value that I bring to an organization, which I feel like I bring a lot of value. And the other thing is that I really, I've retired from corporate America now. The next step is that I want to retire Mike too. And we want to travel the world together. It's something that we really love to do. This photo here is of Mike enjoying the beach in Mexico on a trip that we took with Beachbody earlier this year. It was a free cruise, actually, that we took with Beachbody, which was awesome. And these are things that we love to do, and this opportunity has given us the chance to do them together. So first things first, I want to ask you, what would you love to do all day long and get paid for it? What are you amazing at? And what do people thank you for most often? If you have any trouble answering these questions, I definitely recommend getting the book, The Fire Starter Sessions by Danielle Laporte. That book completely changed my life. It's what started me on this whole path of identifying that this is where I needed to be. And it will just take you on a deeper dive into the underlying issues with these questions. And it's also just, if these questions intrigue you, get that book, because it's freaking awesome and you will not regret reading it. The other thing that I did, I really had to work very hard on myself and shift my mindset. Even though I wanted to leave corporate very badly, I was terrified. It's very scary to think about leaving a corporate salary behind, and a good corporate salary behind. I had a lot of fears around doing that. And when I shared what I was doing with other people, they started to project all of their fears on me. And that is the worst, because then you're second guessing everything that you're doing. What I had to recognize was that, what I was thinking was creating my reality. So when I was fearful of leaving, I was creating a situation that I could never, ever leave. So I had to flip the script, and I had to say, this is my only option, is to leave. I can only have the life that I want if I leave. And now I know for you, if you work full time, leaving your job right now might not be an option. I'm not saying to go out and quit your job tomorrow. This is a business that builds over time. But if you start now, you can create something fantastic for yourself in very little time. So I want you to think about what's limiting you. And again, I'm going to recommend a couple of books for you to pick up if you are really struggling with this. The first is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And this really goes through the personal blocks that we have. A lot of them come from childhood and how we were raised. And it's a really great read. The other one is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And this book, honestly, I've been reading on a loop for probably, 4 months or more. It's a really powerful book, especially for someone like myself who's very altruistic and really, wants to do good in the world. It really talks about how money isn't evil, money is neutral, and money can really help you to do the big work that you want to do, because without it, you start to get very limited in what you can offer to the world. One of the big aha moments for me when I started coaching was that, when I was really stressed out and having that shitty corporate experience, I didn't want people to know that I didn't have it all together. All my friends were going along and looking very happy in their jobs, looking very successful. I wanted to appear that way as well, but I didn't. I was miserable, and I didn't know how to walk away. The thing that I've realized over time as I've matured and as I've gotten some more life experience is that nobody has it all together. And if they tell you that they do, honestly, they're totally full of shit. I'll be the first to tell you that I don't have it all together. But I recognize that, and I work on it every single day. But part of my success actually is that I share that with people, because people want to connect with you. They want to relate to you and your story. right? That is the most powerful thing that we have to share with anyone, is the story of what we've been through and what we've overcome. So when I am real and honest and share my story with people, they respond. You know, when I tell people, oh, I put on 15 plus pounds in college, you know, people are like, oh my God, me too. And it took forever to take that weight off. Or, you know, sometimes the response is, I still haven't taken that weight off. What did you do? And can you help me? You know, when I share that I had this crappy boss at my job and I just hated going into the office every day because I had to deal with him, people are like, oh my God, my boss too, he's the worst. And, you know, what can I do about it? And, you know, I can relate to those people and share what I've been through, and it makes me real and it makes me relatable and it makes people want to work with me. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of the business stuff, all right? Let's talk for a second about active versus passive income. Now, if you're an employee or you're self-employed, you're probably paid on an hourly basis, which means that you, unless you're making like $1 million an hour, you know, you're really limited in what you're able to make, and you only get paid for the hours that you work. There's this other side of money, this passive income, where money is really working for you, and you're not limited by hours. You're making money even when you're not working. And like, what if that was your reality? Because it could be your reality. I'm going to throw in a little bit of a disclaimer here. I am not saying this is some get-rich-quick scheme. It is not by any means. This does not happen overnight. I've been working at this business for over a year, about a year and a quarter. And, you know, I've been working my butt off to make this happen for myself. So it's not always easy. It doesn't happen overnight, but it is very, very possible. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this. So passive income is freedom. And the way that I've found to get passive income is through Team Beachbody. Team Beachbody is not old school fitness DVDs. They're cutting edge programs. They're released, you know, continuously. They're always upgrading and putting out new things and doing new research. It's really, really exciting. And they are also not your standard network marketing. I honestly have seen a lot of network marketing companies, and I'm not here to put anybody down. There are some really great companies and some really great opportunities out there. Certainly this one I feel matches really well with me. But the thing that I've found that differentiates this from a lot of the other things that are out there is that we really pride ourselves on creating a culture and a community. When I work with a client, I am providing them with a product, but then I'm working with them and holding them accountable to use that product. Because let's be honest, doing at-home workouts or using supplements, drinking a shake every day instead of going out for a cheeseburger, those are not easy things to do. People really, really struggle, and they need help. I know when I went through it all by myself, and it was very, very challenging. And I think now about this awesome network of people that I have that hold me accountable to reach my new goals, my new health and fitness goals, and it is so powerful and just really an incredible thing to be a part of. So when I say Team Beachbody, if you are not familiar with them, these are some of our product catalog, and I'm sure you're familiar with one or more of the names on this slide. Things like P90X and Insanity, Les Mills Pump, T25. Now, there are two reasons why I believe that you have heard about these programs, right? So the first is that if you know somebody that's done one of these programs start to finish and they followed it, they have gotten awesome results because these programs work. There's like, you know, they're designed flawlessly. If you follow them, you will get results. A lot of people don't follow them, which is why we have coaches. That's a whole other story. The other thing is that if you've ever been up late at night, you might have seen an infomercial for Hip Hop Abs or Brazil Butt Lift or T25, P90X3. Beachbody does a lot of its own advertising on our behalf, on the Coach Network's behalf. So people are aware of the name and the brand, right? And then you can come in and share your own personal experience with the products and really personalize the situation. The other thing that I want to share with you about Beachbody that's really exciting and like blows my mind is how quickly we're growing. The Coach Network has grown its annual revenue tenfold in the last 5 years. So we went from 37 million in 2008 to 300 million in 2013. That is awesome. I guess that's technically 6 years. So we've done that in 6 years, which is astounding. You know, how many other companies are growing like that? And we have our first international expansion opportunity in Canada. So we're just opening up the coaching network in Canada. There's only about 10,000 coaches right now, so there is a huge opportunity there. And that is just the start. So when you use supplements or your supplement company to go international, you often have to jump through a lot of hoops and get a lot of approval from different federal agencies. And so it can be really challenging. So we've gotten into Canada, which is awesome. And we are going to be branching out to other international locations. They still haven't disclosed where those locations will be, but we've been told that it's coming. So that is really exciting. And so if you're in Canada, now is an awesome opportunity for you to come on board. Ooh. All right, so let's talk for a second about who can be a coach. Now, the short answer is anyone can be a coach. I have a few kind of caveats to that we'll go over next, but I just want to give you a smattering of a few of the people that I work with. We have Marie, who's a 50-something small business owner and a mom. Erin, who's a 20-something full-time law student. Brian, who's probably the busiest person I've ever met in my life. A 30-something 9-to-5er and a single mom of twins who are toddlers. I mean, can you picture anybody busier than that? And yet she still has time to build a business on the side, which she's hoping to go full-time in a couple months, which is awesome. I'm so excited for her. And then Mike, a 30-something gym owner and personal trainer. And that's a good point for me to stop and say, you know, if you are like in the health and wellness industry, you know, a lot of people think that this would compete with your current business, but actually it can be really complementary. So if you think about, you know, if you see a personal training client maybe 2 times a week, what are those people doing on the other days of the week? I don't know, you know, and you want them to be getting results. Probably most people can't pay to see you 5 days a week, and they really should be. So on those other days, you can have them supplement with a program that you know works and gets them results. You can have them using nutritional supplements that you know work and can give them results. And, you know, you will have them coming back to you for more. So it really can be complementary to the services that you already offer. So the caveat, anyone can be a coach, but I believe that any successful coach has to have these characteristics. So you have to have a desire to be in the best health of your life. You don't necessarily have to be there right now, but it's something that you have to value and has to be something that you're working towards because you really want to be able to relate to your clients. You also need to be passionate about helping others. We aren't just pushing products on people. That's not how we roll. The objective is to really get people set up with the right products and the right programs to help them be successful. And you really can only do that if you're passionate about helping people first and the bottom line second. Self-motivated go-getter types. So, you know, no one's going to hand this to you. It's something that you need to build and you need to create. Obviously, I'm here to help you and mentor you and teach you everything that I know, but there has to be some level of personal responsibility. You also have to have an ability and a willingness to learn from others and understand the value of residual or passive income, as we talked about before, because that's really what we're all after here, right? So you're probably asking yourself, what's the investment for something like this? Like, when's she going to get to the what I really want to know? Because this is what people always want to know. There is a time commitment. It's usually about 3 to 5 hours a week to start. So when I started, I did about a half hour to an hour a day. And what you put in, you will get back. So the more time you can invest up front, the more you'll get out quickly. And vice versa. If you can only put in a couple hours a week, you'll still get a return, but it might not be as big. And there is a monetary investment. So an initial investment ranges from $140 to $305, and that includes one of our workout programs and Shakeology, which is our wellness shake. After your initial investment, during your second month, you'll get charged a monthly fee of $15.95, and that's for things like your website, call center help, things like that, your online store, all that stuff. And then coaches are expected to continue on Shakeology, the wellness shake, and that ends up being with shipping about $100 a month. Now, there are military discounts available if you are active military or a military spouse. Those are available to you. Otherwise, the rates are pretty much how you see them right here. So I want you to know that you are not in this alone. My job as your sponsoring coach is to help and support you. I want to mentor you to be successful and to operate, on your own as quickly as possible. So I am here to give you all of the training and the mentoring that you need. I run a new coach training program. It's 30 to 60 days depending on your goals, and it teaches you all about the business and what you need to do to be successful. I also do one-on-one mentorship through weekly one-on-one calls and weekly team calls and Google Hangouts, and then there's also a bunch of corporate training and events, both regionally and on the internet, which is awesome. So you can kind of do it anywhere. Lastly, I want to leave you with this. So there is a need. There's a huge need for people like you and people like myself who really are passionate about helping others and about solving the health problems that our society is facing right now. There's a huge obesity epidemic in the US, Canada, and Latin America, which are the regions that we're operating in right now. And the government and the medical community and the food lobbyists are not helping us solve this problem, right? So we have to take it into our own hands to solve this problem. And I want you to be there to help me do it because I can't do it alone. Now, the best time to start, honestly, is right now. When you're excited about it, you're ready to go, there's no better time. This problem isn't solving itself. It's only getting bigger. So the sooner you get in, the more people you can help. And the quicker you will be self-sufficient. So next steps. I want to follow up with you. So let's talk. You can send me an email at stephanie@stephaniecookwellness.com. Most likely we have set up a phone call to check in about what you thought about this webinar and what you're thinking about this opportunity and what questions you have, all of that stuff. I'm very transparent. I'll be totally honest with you about if I think this is a fit for you or not. And I only want to bring people in who are 100% on board. So that's my goal. And I want to leave you just right now with a thought. I want you to dream big, and I want you to think, what do you really want out of life? Is it life sitting in a cubicle, working for somebody else, being limited in what you can earn, in the time you can spend with your family and friends, in the vacation, the 2 weeks vacation that you have a year? Is that what you want? Because if it's not, now's the time for you to make a change, and I'm here to help you do that. So thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure, and I can't wait to talk to you soon.